Okay guys, so we're going to start with a nice gentle warm-up just to get that heart rate up. And if you'd like to play the music that it's choreographed to, there is the playlist. Okay, so starting off nice and tall, just walking on those tiptoes, relaxed arms, relaxed shoulders, making sure the pelvis is tucked under, there's no arching of the spine. Now toes out to the side and toes into the middle, just stretching out those hips, strengthening the calf in different ways. Now fast feet, but still keeping nice and light, just getting that heart rate up a little bit, getting those muscles warm. Okay, stretching out those calves now with some heel walks. Again, just showing you from the side so you can make sure you've got a nice alignment. Toes out to the side and toes across the body. Okay, so just little jumps now. You can make them as big or as little as you want, but the idea being it's a higher jump and then a quick, smaller, reactive jump in between. So just really swing those arms. Okay, so high knees sideways on now, going one way and then the other. Trying to make sure those hips stay nice and high. That's the priority rather than high knees, high hips. Okay, fast feet again. Let's get that heart rate going. Good stuff, driving. Okay, just take a quick breather. Circle those ankles both ways, loosening out. And some nice rhythmical squats here now. So just go as deep as you feel like you can. It shouldn't hurt at any point. This is just about a little rebounding squat and then galloping to the side, keeping that chest up. And this is called donkey kick now. So if you can, just going to the side. If it's easier, just stay on the spot. I like just to mix things up with change of direction sometimes. So just circling that leg round, really thinking about pulling the foot back under the hips. And some fast feet again now. That's it, hopefully really starting to feel much warmer now. Drive. And some nice little spine twists to finish there. Lovely stuff. Okay, so if you need to pause it here, you can do, but just to summarize, we're doing 60 seconds of strength and then 30 seconds of cardio. And there is just a generic upbeat playlist there. So there's no particular songs that it's choreographed to. So this first exercise then, you've got option 1 on the left, and that's just slightly harder. It's only subtle, but I'm just squatting a little bit deeper there. But if you have any knee issues or you don't want to go quite so deep, just do option 2. And here it's all about trying to keep that lower back still. You might want to try and sandwich it against the wall as well, just so you've got that extra guidance. But the more you can do that, the more it helps strengthen the lower abdominals as well, which was so key to posture. So keeping those shoulders down, just a flowing rhythmical movement, arms above the head. If you want to go a bit deeper in your squat, you can do to work those quads. Otherwise, you should feel that core kick in as those arms come out in front. And now straight into that cardio. So it's either squat jumps, option 1, or a little skip with a backwards circle with those arms. The reason it's backwards is it just opens the chest out a little bit more. But whichever one you're doing, just keeping that flow, keeping that relaxation, but also that engagement. Last 10 seconds. Nice work, guys. Keep going. And rest. You have a 30-second rest here. I'll just demonstrate the next exercises. So there's a slight error here, actually. Option 2 should be on your knees. That's the sort of slightly easier option. Otherwise, if you want to go for the harder option, then just stay up in that plank position And then you just switch from one side to the other. So ideally, you want your body to be in a nice straight line. If you do need to just pike your bum a little bit, you can do to make it easier. The key thing is just to feel like you're working, but not to have excess tension in the shoulders. So just a shunt from side to side, just looking down to the floor will just help with that stability and balance a bit. Steady, steady. As I say, you can always swap halfway to go down onto your knees as well if you need. Last 15 seconds. Keeping that head in line with the spine. It's often tempting to drop the head in this position. Keeping strong. 2, 1, and rest. Okay, so we go to, well, not rest actually, sorry, straight into the cardio. So either burpees if you're doing option 1, or option 2 is just an A-frame walkout. Just really getting that heart rate up now. Nice and reactive off the ground for those burpees. And nice and stable as you walk those hands out for the A-frame, trying not to wobble side to side. Okay, good stuff. 30-second recovery again then. So I'll show you the next exercise now, where you're going to grab the bands, standing on the bands. So we have a squat with a lunge and a bicep curl. So actually I get it wrong here. So you do the bicep curl with the lunge and then the lat raise as you do the squat. Otherwise option 2 is more of a balanced one. Lifting alternate lat raise, just making sure that you stay nice and stable in that supporting leg so the hip doesn't shunt out to the side. So really feel like you're growing really nice and tall. Squeezing those shoulder blades together just to keep the shoulders down. And with option 1, just staying nice and low as much as possible. If you need to stand up for some respite, you can do, but otherwise staying low. To the lunge with the bicep curl and then the lat raise with the squat in the middle. 20 seconds to go, guys. Well done. Oh, sorry, I should have said you should swap halfway on option 2. Hopefully you spotted that. If not, quickly. Good, good. So keeping that back straight as well with both of them. Last couple of seconds and good stuff. So straight into a bit of cardio here now. So it's a squat and then a side kick, or just a bit of a balanced one again there with that sort of karate kick on option 2. Trying to aim for 90 degrees if you can, swapping halfway. So really making a powerful jump for option 1 there. Just lifting that leg as high as what your flexibility allows. And rest. Okay, 30-second rest. That's great work, guys. We're moving through those sets now. Over halfway. For this next one, there's just a subtle difference here again, guys. So option 1, we're bending the knees a little bit more. Option 2 is just where you're hinging at the hips. So if you have bad knees at all, you don't want to squat quite so much, then just go for the hinge option. Okay, just going as far as what that band allows, because some of the bands can be a little bit tighter. So if you can't do that press all the way overhead, another option is just to use one of the bands rather than 2. So just leaving one end free and then just pressing up with that other end. But whichever option you're doing, just making sure that those knees stay in line with the feet. Okay, swapping sides, and you touch the opposite toe and pull the band across the body. Nice, making sure you fully extended in those hips when you stand up, shoulders stay down. Keep going, guys, last 10 seconds. and then it's into cardio. Well done, well done. Then both sides the same here for the flutter. Ideally, you want to try and get those hands up to about shoulder height and not let them drop below the waist, but it does depend on that band. And a real key thing, again, I know I've mentioned this before, it's with that pelvic tilt, making sure the tailbone's tucked under so you can really activate that core. Nice work, guys. Keep going. Really feel it in the arms, but also in those abs. Great work. So we've just got 2 more rounds to go. So option 1 is a squat into a lat raise, but also lifting that leg to the side. So you'll really feel it activating those glutes. And then option 2 is more kind of a balanced one. So some bicep pulses and then some leg pulses to the side. So you just go till you get a burn there, doing that on option 2, the leg raise. It's just a few bicep curls, but it's mainly about activating the glute with that pulse till you get that burn. As you squat down in option 1, just taking that bum backwards, sitting into those heels, swapping sides each time. Nearly there, guys. Last 15 seconds. Keep strong, making sure that the body doesn't rock, the body stays strong the whole time. Really good for balance, really good for posture. Okay, so option 1 is a wonky press up where you're mainly driving off that bottom leg or just normal star jumps. You can also just do a step from side to side if you have any injury issues. That's it. You should really feel like you're working hard in that lower leg on option 1. It's mainly that leg that produces the power. Fantastic. Okay, last round now. So again, both options are shown the same here now, but if option 2, you do want to hold onto your legs, for example, to help you, you can do. But otherwise, if you can sort of just keep those arms as vertical as possible the whole way, take them behind your head so you get a nice chest stretch, then that will really just help to stretch and isolate that torso. The key thing here as well, you'll notice that the spine is rolling up 1 vertebrae at a time and then rolling down 1 vertebrae at a time, which is just really good to keep that spine mobile and strong. Keep going, guys. We're halfway there now. You need to have a quick breather, a quick rest, you can do. You want to start to use your hands, you can do. Otherwise, just keep that flow. Nice. Last 10 seconds. Remembering to take the arms behind the head to open out that chest. And straight into flutters. So the lower your legs are, the more you will work the lower abdominals. The key is to keep that lower back on the floor. And you're just moving from the hips. The knees stay relatively still here. Don't overthink it, just wiggle those arms, wiggle those legs. Whilst keeping that spine as still as possible. Fantastic, good work, guys. So you might want to pause it here now and take it back through those exercises. Otherwise, if you come back into the core, back to our first playlist where we are doing some tap downs initially. So here it's about keeping the knees at about 90 degrees whilst lowering the leg from the hip, keeping that spine nice and still. So just one leg at a time to start with. We're going to extend it straight now, pushing out through those heels, making sure that the knees don't come towards the chest. Try and keep those thighs vertical. And now into some single leg V-sits with a little pulse there. So switching one side to the other, just lifting the head off the floor if you can. Great work. And then some chinnies here now. You can also hold on to those thighs if you need to. Otherwise, trying to keep that spine as strong as possible. So you're moving it all as one unit here now. Just using that bounce. Okay, into double leg option now. If this is too much, then just go back to the single option as we did before. Otherwise, let's say hinging from the hips, tapping down and up. Dropping those knees from going towards the chest, and now extending both legs straight and in. Extend straight, so toes are also pulled up towards the shin. Nice active feet. Well done. Last one. And now double leg V-sit with the pulse. So up and pulse, out and pulse. This is quite advanced here now, so you can do the single leg if you wish, keeping that lower back nice and stable. Now into some scissors. So just nice and controlled, opening and closing those legs. As low as you can with those legs, but lifting them higher if you need. Into a back plank, taking that head behind you, really lifting those hips, aiming for a nice straight line. Now onto your front. Scooping through. If you can't push up from your hands here now, just go onto your elbows. But finally, finishing off with a dorsal raise, balancing out those ab exercises with some back strengthening. Little raises, squeezing the glutes to protect the lower back. And finally, some dead bugs on your front. Your head stays in line with the spine, and then it's just little wiggles, trying to lift those thighs off the ground. Again, keeping those glutes nice and engaged so you don't arch that lower back. And last little bit, plank and dipping those hips to the floor. If you can't manage to do a full plank, that's fine. Just go onto your knees and then just take the hips from side to side. Otherwise, good stuff. Finally now into our stretch that you have earned. And again, keeping that playlist. Just stretching, sorry about that, that's not quite right. Circling those hips one way and then the other. Now, bending forward from the waist, initially keeping that spine really nice and straight. If you need to bend the knee on this front leg, you can do. And then just rocking backwards and forwards in that front ankle. Dropping the head down, curving that spine. Small little rocks. Now legs nice and wide, reaching forward, and you're just going to circle around one way and then the other. So making sure those knees are nicely padded, okay? So just to get some nice mobility into those hips, into that spine. That's it, so one way, and then reversing it back round the other way, just taking your time to extend as you go forward and sitting back into those hips. Okay, switching to the other side now. So nice and straight to start with, pumping those toes up and down. Keeping straight, and now curling that head down, curling that spine, stretching out those nerves. Into a nice deep lunge. Just a few little gentle bounces there, just so you can really help to open out that back hip. But just working with what you've got here. And switch sides. Nice and deep. Should not hurt as you're doing that. Okay, into the side. So whichever knee is on the floor, you lift up that same arm to create a nice arch, making sure you're growing up and over, keeping the pelvis in alignment with those legs. And just a bit of caution here now as you do that back bend, supporting your lower back. If it's too much to do it, then don't worry, just look up instead of leaning back. Switch to the other side. Now arching over, looking up, really noticing if there's a difference from one side to the other. Working through that tightness in the side of the body. Good, and extending out. Now you're going to fold forward and thread one arm through. This is called threading the needle. So feeling a good stretch through that spine with a nice twist, and to relax down into the floor. And switch sides. Switching, twisting. And finishing off now with a child's resting pose. So that's where you reach forward, forehead comes down to the floor, and just sitting back onto those heels. You should feel a lovely stretch all through that spine. Letting go. And well done there, guys. Great work.